On a sweltering August day, the world of music and pop culture was rocked to its core. In a shock that left fans reeling, Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was found dead at his home, Graceland in Memphis. The news spread like wildfire, turning an ordinary day into one that would forever change the landscape of entertainment. The king had fallen, and with him, an era of music that had captured hearts around the globe. It started like any other day at Graceland. Nancy Rooks, one of Elvis's maids, was taking a brief break from her duties, watching TV in the kitchen. The tranquility was shattered when the intercom buzzed with an urgent voice. It was Ginger, one of the other maids, sounding frantic and sobbing. Something was terribly wrong with Elvis. Without hesitation, Nancy rushed upstairs, peered through the bathroom door, and then dashed downstairs to find Al Strada, a wardrobe assistant, already there. Elvis was on the floor, unresponsive. His face was swollen, his tongue discolored, and the sight was heartbreaking. The realization hit everyone like a ton of bricks. Elvis had overdosed. The news spread quickly inside the mansion. Vernon Presley, Elvis's father, was frantic. He had heard the commotion and rushed upstairs, only to find Strada trying to turn Elvis over. The assumption was clear: Elvis had overdosed on drugs. The scene was chaotic, with people shouting, crying, and trying to help. Ginger, in a state of panic, had called the office where Patsy Presley, Elvis's mother, and Joe Esposito, a close friend and band member, were discussing the upcoming tour. Joe immediately raced to Graceland, his heart pounding. He found Strada still trying to move Elvis, while others were already attempting artificial respiration. The situation was dire. Joe's voice cracked as he shouted, "I'm coming soon, son. Wait for me, I'm coming." Vernon, hysterical with grief, was helped up the stairs by Patsy. Lisa, Elvis's daughter, was also distraught, trying to get to her father but being turned away by Ginger. The Memphis Fire Department arrived quickly, and an ambulance rushed Elvis to Baptist Memorial Hospital. But it was too late. The doctors arrived too late. Elvis was declared dead upon arrival. As the news broke, Joe made the difficult calls. First, he reached out to the Colonel, Elvis's manager, who was at a hotel in Portland, Maine. The Colonel's response was immediate and pragmatic. The tour was canceled, and the musicians on the plane were turned around. Next, Joe called Priscilla, Elvis's ex-wife, in California, reassuring her that Lisa was safe in the care of others. The hospital was soon flooded with reporters, tipped off by hospital staff. The hospital administrator stepped in to manage the situation, announcing Elvis's death to the press. But Joe was too shaken to make the announcement himself. The hospital staff, along with Elvis's private rooms being cleared of drugs, told a story of a man who had tried to hide his struggles even in death. Only 2 empty syringes were found, a stark contrast to the chaos that had unfolded. Back at Graceland, the cleanup began in earnest. Aunt Delta and Nancy Rooks worked to clear Elvis's private rooms of any drugs, burying some in the garden to avoid detection. The police and medical investigators arrived, only to find the house remarkably clean, save for the 2 empty syringes. The medical investigator noted the unusual absence of typical medications, a detail that would later raise more questions than answers. As the world outside Graceland began to grasp the magnitude of the loss, the autopsy results slowly came to light. Elvis had died of cardiac arrhythmia, a heart attack, but the real story was far more complex. His heart was enlarged, his arteries and veins corroded, his liver damaged, and his intestine blocked. 14 drugs were found in his system, 10 in toxic amounts. All had been obtained legally through prescriptions, but the combination and the years of abuse had taken a devastating toll. The truth was clear to those who knew Elvis best. His health had been in decline for years, and his addiction to drugs was well known, even if it was often downplayed. Friends like Red West and Sonny West had predicted the tragic end in their book, published just days before Elvis's death. Lamar Fike, another close friend, had said, "He'll never see the snow fly," highlighting the decline in his health. Despite the shock, the decision was made to hold a public viewing at Graceland. Vernon insisted that Elvis would want his fans to see him one last time. Elvis's body was dressed in a white suit and laid out in the music room. For 3.5 hours, fans filed past, many having waited since dawn. The gates had to be closed after the flood of people, but the world continued to mourn. The outpouring of support was overwhelming. Messages of condolence poured in from around the globe. President Carter expressed his deep sorrow, calling Elvis unique and irreplaceable. The impact of his loss was felt deeply, not just in music but in culture. Elvis had been more than a singer, he was a phenomenon who had shaped the sound of a generation. As the world remembered the king, the questions lingered. How had it come to this? Had the drugs finally caught up with him? The answers, much like the autopsy results, remained shrouded in mystery, leaving a void that would never be fully filled. Elvis Presley may have left the stage, but his legacy lived on, a testament to an era of music and a man who had changed the world. Elvis Presley's funeral was a quiet affair, held in the comfort of his home, Graceland, on a summer day in August. It was not the grand celebration many might have expected for someone who had touched so many lives around the world. His close friends and family gathered in the house, away from the glare of the spotlight that had followed him for decades. Priscilla, his wife, along with Lisa and Aunt Delta, prepared for the service in Grandma's room, as friends arrived to pay their respects. Among those who attended were some of Elvis's closest musical allies. Linda Thompson, his former wife, was there, along with his longtime friend and guitarist, Chet Atkins. Anne Margaret, another former spouse, came with her husband, Roger Smith. The governor of Tennessee, Raymond Blanton, and some of Elvis's trusted collaborators from RCA Records also showed up. Even Rex Humbard, the TV evangelist who once prayed at Elvis's side, gave a brief sermon. The service featured familiar hymns including Danny Boy and How Great Thou Art, sung by James Blackwood and the Stamps, along with other voices from the community. Elvis's closest friend, the Colonel, was also present, though his presence was marked by a sense of unease. Dressed casually, he stood apart from the others, deep in thought. The Colonel, who had managed Elvis's career and personal life for many years, had other concerns on his mind. He had been focused on securing control over Elvis's merchandising rights, aiming to benefit from the ongoing popularity of Elvis's name and image. Later, the Colonel convinced Vernon, Elvis's father, to sign over these rights to a company called Factors Etc., securing a larger share for himself than what Elvis's estate would receive. After the funeral, Elvis's body was taken to Forest Hill Cemetery in a white hearse, accompanied by 17 limousines carrying mourners. The route was lined with thousands of fans who had come to say their goodbyes, a testament to the impact Elvis had on people's lives. The flowers sent that day were shared among all who had gathered, a simple gesture that highlighted the outpouring of love and respect. In the days following Elvis's death, the Memphis Press-Sentinel ran a headline that captured the essence of his life: "A lonely life ends on Elvis Presley Boulevard." This statement, however, did not tell the full story. Despite the financial complexities and the controversies surrounding his life, Elvis's legacy grew exponentially after his passing. His estate, far from being the vast fortune one might expect from a superstar, was surprisingly modest, valued at under $10 million. This modest figure included his home, cars, and planes, and was a stark contrast to the millions he had earned through his music and performances. Yet in death, Elvis became more celebrated than ever. His records, which had already seen a boost in sales upon his death, continued to soar. The world's fascination with him only intensified, and his music touched generations in ways he could never have imagined. RCA Records, which had bought his catalog in 1973, found a golden treasure trove in his back catalog. They repackaged his music into various themes, making his songs accessible to new audiences. The release of his complete works, along with new albums like If I Can Dream, which featured his voice with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, further cemented his place in music history. Elvis's influence also reached beyond music. Musicians from different genres began to speak openly about his impact on their work. Artists like Neil Young, Bob Dylan, and Bruce Springsteen paid tribute to him, showing how deeply his music had influenced the music world. Even those who had once dismissed his films saw the cultural significance of his work fade into the background, overshadowed by his lasting musical legacy. Today, Elvis's image continues to captivate the world. His likeness adorns postage stamps, and his name remains a household word. Graceland, his home, is a thriving tourist attraction, and his music continues to sell millions of copies each year. The marketing of his brand has been astute, but it's his unique voice and the emotion he conveyed through his songs that truly keep his memory alive. Elvis's ability to sing was not rooted in formal training. Instead, it was a blend of the many styles he loved. He was not afraid to borrow from different genres, creating a sound that was uniquely his own. His voice could shift seamlessly from bass to falsetto, expressing deep emotions that resonated with listeners. Whether he was rocking out, crooning a ballad, or singing a spiritual, Elvis communicated with a sincerity that few could match. His gift was in his versatility and his genuine connection with his audience. He didn't just sing, he felt the music, and that feeling came through in every note. Elvis's legacy is not just in the music he made or the money he earned, but in the way he touched the hearts of millions. When Elvis Presley first came onto the music scene, many people were blown away. To those who hadn't heard him before, it felt like a revolution. Dylan, a famous singer himself, said listening to Elvis was like getting out of jail. It's no wonder Elvis's music was fresh and exciting. It mixed different styles like rock, country, and blues in new ways that nobody had done before. Elvis recorded over 750 songs in his career. A lot of these songs are still loved today. They show how talented Elvis was and how he could sing in many different styles. Whether he was singing pop, rock and roll, or country, Elvis made the music his own. Let's look at some of the songs that made Elvis so special. All Shook Up is a great example. It's an upbeat, energetic song that shows his rock and roll side. Then there's Heartbreak Hotel, which has a catchy melody and tells a story that many can relate to. Hound Dog is another hit that combines blues with rock, making it a fun and lively tune. Elvis didn't just stick to one style. He sang spirituals like How Great Thou Art, showing his deep faith. He also sang love songs like Can't Help Falling in Love that are sweet and romantic. Each song tells a story or expresses an emotion, which is part of why they resonate with so many people. As Elvis's career went on, he faced challenges, including health issues due to the many pills he was given by his doctor. This doctor, Dr. George Nishapoulos, prescribed lots of medicine, which isn't good for anyone. In 1995, because of this, the medical board took away his license to practice. Later, he found work evaluating insurance claims for FedEx, but he passed away in 2016. Despite the tough times at the end, Elvis's music lives on. His influence can still be heard in songs today. He helped shape what rock and roll is, and many musicians credit him as a big inspiration. His ability to blend different music styles opened doors for countless artists who followed. When we think about Elvis's best songs, we're really celebrating his impact on music and culture. His voice, his style, and his ability to connect with people through song are part of what made him a legend. Even though he's gone, the music he left behind keeps his spirit alive for everyone who loves his songs.